The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hi, my name is Leo Connors, and welcome to The Ring and All Other Sports. Tonight, I got my special guest making his 1,250th appearance,
Really?
Maverick Wild.
I actually just live in the studio at this
Yeah.
point. Yes.
Is that's your bed over there?
Yeah, I have green sheets. Nobody could see me.
So we're just going to talk. I mean, like you told me on the thing that we could just talk. I put some stuff in case we get lost and we need something.
Yeah.
But I did want to bring up to you, I saw you posted something about your teacher, Mr. Driscoll, and he was in the service and stuff.
Yeah, it was just a continuation of actually his daughter, I believe, posted that, and I believe I shared it. And he's quite a guy. He's still with us, amazingly enough.
Right.
He was literally my favorite teacher in school. Sometimes he'd have a flashback in the middle of class, and I remember he threw a chair across the classroom one time. But normally he was so goofy and so funny and so different than the rest of the other teachers that he was just somebody to look up to. He was such a nice guy.
Right.
I mean, he would, it wasn't, a lot of teachers, like they hide from, like, if they live in town or live anywhere from town, they don't come into town. They avoid it like the plague. This guy couldn't get enough of it. He was one of the friendliest people you'll ever meet.
That's awesome.
And he's a great guy. He really is.
And that's Oakmont
Regional High School. Yes.
Mr. Driscoll, you're the best. I wanted to see you brought up, he had flashbacks. I had a teacher in the 7th grade, a science teacher, Mr. Mack, and he flipped us all out because he'd touched the frog with these fingers and then lick these.
Oh,
so we all thought he was touching the frog and then licking his fingers. He was hilarious.
We had a teacher named Mr. Reppinen who was an okay teacher. I never really had him because he did chemistry and physics, and you can probably tell by looking at me.
You didn't want to learn how to cook
No. Well, as the story went, God, I hope it's true. The seniors dropped some acid in his coffee. Ooh. And he started hallucinating in class.
Wow. That must have been a great class.
I wasn't there for that. But,
that's funny. Well, I saw you made a post the other day about seeing MA in the front yard.
Oh, mixed martial arts in the front yard? Yeah, that's a true thing. On my way home, about a mile from my house, just about every day you go out in the summer, and they're having, I don't know if they're kickboxers or MMA guys, but they're out in the yard. They're either doing their calisthenics, they got all the pads on, or they're out there beating the crap out of each other in the front yard. It's great. And it's right across.
Did you beep at them?
Oh, yeah, of course. I always scream, "Hey, where's Conor McGregor?" And oddly enough, it's right across the street from what used to be an egg farm. I don't know. I don't know how that's related to it.
Right.
But MMA and egg farms, I don't know how they go together.
It's pretty funny though.
It is. They're out there, literally out there in the front yard. One time I pulled over and said, "If you're really tough, you do that in the winter."
Right. That's for sure. What do you think about? They just had a fight Sunday. Floyd Mayweather and one of the Pauls.
I know very little about this. What else I know is,
I'm surprised that I don't know why Floyd didn't beat him up.
Why don't I just fight Floyd Mayweather?
Right. You'd make a lot of money if you did.
Maybe I'm bigger than him. I can trap him in a corner, maybe get a couple of shots in.
I guess he made at least $30 million for that one.
Yeah,
I wonder why he came out to fight.
I heard his base pay was like $10 million, and then the incentives on top of that.
Right.
It's like that's like almost obscene, for God's sake.
Definitely. But really I want to see someone knock this YouTuber out, man. I'm so sick of listening to him run his mouth.
I don't know anything about him.
Yeah, good. You're lucky.
Yeah,
Well, on the way into the studio, I mentioned the parking lot, and we were talking about the state of New England wrestling.
Yep.
How with the pandemic, we both feel that it's wide open. There is no number one company right now. No. Everybody's starting off on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Like I always say that, where you want to be in wrestling locally is just a matter of degrees.
Right.
There's not even that right now. It's literally just everybody's, starting off you know,
Yep.
they're ground zero at this
Right.
point. They're just, you're all in the basement, and they got to work their way up.
Yeah.
And I don't know if somebody takes it as an opportunity to do something here.
They should.
But there's been nothing going on.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you have guys like ACW jumping back in. I think they were probably the first locally. If I'm
Which
not,
one?
Is it ACW?
APW?
APW, excuse
Yeah,
me.
actually, they ran one during the pandemic in Derry,
Yep.
and Jimmy Allen, Trooper Gilmore, ran 2 shows in Rhode Island.
Okay.
Those are the only shows that I knew that happened during the pandemic.
And then, but they seem to be on front on that. I don't know what that.
Every month, I'm there doing the concessions.
I don't know what good that did them.
Right.
But, at least they hit the ground with some kind of speed behind their feet, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's wide open. You're starting from nothing at this point.
Right.
Really, have there been shows really for a year and a half? It's been about a year and a half.
About that,
really.
yeah.
They're just starting to get off the ground again.
Yep.
And people's memories are short. They really
Yes.
are. So,
Mine is definitely short.
yeah, but people haven't come to your show in a year and a half. Might as well have never
Right.
been.
Yeah.
It really is.
And the companies that are like running right now, like are starting to run regularly, is Chaotic, APW. I noticed New England All Stars had a show like maybe a couple weeks ago. They're running this Friday. Jimmy Allen, like I said, ran a few shows, and he's got a bunch of stuff coming. I think New World Wrestling Extreme's next show is July 31st. So, and I'm trying to think who else is running. Oh, NCW was going to start back up, and I think that's John Casey, maybe. Do you know who owns NCW?
I think it is John Casey.
Yeah,
and
nice kid.
I also hear that Sheldon is going to run.
Oh,
is
yes.
running shows again.
I'll definitely go to one of Sheldon's shows. And John's, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I want to go to a lot more.
Yeah, I think Sheldon's a little more cautious than other people.
Right.
He has been. He's
Yeah.
he wonders how this is all going to affect the bottom line. And my gut feeling is initially it's going to be a rush because there's just been nothing to do for
Right.
anybody.
Exactly.
Just because, not even because it's wrestling, just because there's nothing else.
Yeah.
It's been nothing else to do, and people are going to run out the doors and
Right.
they're going to want to see something.
Yeah.
They've been sequestered inside for a year and a half.
Right.
They're sick of it.
Yep. There's just so many, and there's so many companies. To, you know what I mean? In
Yeah.
New England.
Yeah, and then it'll actually be interesting to see which ones actually restart and
Yeah.
which ones go, never mind.
Because I mean, at one point, everybody likes to say that Chaotic was the #1 company, but nothing for nothing. But Sheldon had legitimate, like he was bringing in like stars from other places, you
Yeah.
know. So I think that what hurt him on that and not being like the #1 for a while was that he didn't run consistently.
No, he didn't.
You
no,
know?
but at the same time, I can see why he wouldn't. He doesn't
Right.
want to risk,
I didn't shut my phone off, Mav, so I'm doing it now
it's okay.
before Dick yells at me.
Yeah, it becomes a big risk sometimes running more than
Right.
6 shows a year. I know I did it. It's sometimes it's no fun.
Right.
But you're always depending on your last show to support the next, but you can't really depend on it too
Right.
much, and it's a pain in the ass to do it that way. It really is sometimes.
Definitely.
But I mean, I probably wouldn't do it that way if I ever got
Right.
back into it. I would probably try and do 6 shows a year.
Right.
And,
If you ever get back into it, I'd love to give you a hand.
okay,
I'd
no
love
problem.
to and help you with the promoting part.
I don't see it coming.
Right. But if you do, I just want to let you know.
I don't see you coming. You should know that actually in the last 5 or 6 months was actually up at the Chaotic. I was actually at the
You had said something about that. I think on Facebook.
Yeah, it was different.
Yeah. Do you like working with the kids?
Somewhat, but
Yeah.
to be honest with you, I mean, I've had so many operations at this point. I would get in the ring and try and show them how to do something, and my footwork was all off,
Right.
and my timing was all off.
But you can give them plenty of verbal help.
Yeah, you see, there's the problem. If you talk to me, I control myself pretty well in the studio here.
Right.
I was raised by a roofer,
Yeah.
and then I went into wrestling, and nobody that I ever met swore more than wrestlers, except for
Right.
maybe roofers, and nobody ever met actually drank more than roofers, except maybe wrestlers.
Right.
It was this weird, odd
Yep.
thing, and so when I just want to talk to somebody in general, the F-bombs just start flying,
Right.
and the horrible, horrible things come out of my mouth, and I felt like I was walking on eggshells the entire time I was there because all manner of filth and foulness can come out of my mouth. And the way I describe things are very, very colorful and
Right.
very, very gross sometimes. And I'm just
I'd love to hear that.
I'm just sitting around.
Right. Well, why I said that about verbally, because when me and Sonny went to Top Rope a couple
Yep.
weeks ago, and a kid asked him about his match, Sonny gave him like really good critique. You know what I mean? It wasn't all positive.
No.
But the kid took it well.
See, that's the other part of it. I think he got a rare one because I don't think people take critiques well anymore.
Exactly. They ask for help, and then when they don't get what they
If you ask me for help, you're going to hear what I thought was
Right.
good, and you're going to hear what I thought is
Yep.
bad.
That's right.
And it's always been that way to some degree, that nobody wants to hear they did something bad. But
Right.
now it's just like, you're an a-hole for telling them they did something wrong.
Right.
I was like,
Well, he definitely.
what did you ask
helped
me
them.
for?
Right.
Why did
exactly.
you ask me? If you didn't want to
Yep.
hear you did something wrong, go talk to your parents and ask them how your match was.
Yeah,
don't talk to me.
exactly.
You know,
Yep.
I'll tell you exactly what I thought was wrong with it.
Yeah, and all you're going to be doing is giving them the best advice they could get.
Yeah.
We got to talk about this guy. I know he wrestled with you. You probably had matches with him. Did you train him? You know-
Not initially. no.
Okay. Paul Valari Hodgkins.
Paul Hodgkins.
Master Flesh.
Yes.
Pleaded guilty to storming the Capitol.
Yep. Second one who pled guilty. I don't know if he's actually been sentenced yet.
Right.
I read about it. Of course, my memory's terrible. I guess he could have gone about 20 years. There's a plea bargain agreement in place where he's down to I think it's between 20 and 36 months.
So what? All those dudes, they go into prison, huh?
I know he is.
Well, that's just, listen,
Or unless they really give him some type of lenient
Right.
sentence at this point.
I mean, they and nothing, but they should. I mean, people were scared for their lives, man. And
I
who knows what they would have did if they would have caught them, caught like a senator or something.
This one's actually a little hard for me to talk about because Paul's a guy that I really did spend a lot of time defending to a lot of people because
Right.
you've seen it.
Yeah.
If
I've been.
you've ever met him, he's about my height, a little thinner, not
Right.
really thin though. Really long hair, really very goth,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
very, very into the goth movement.
That's why that Master
Very.
Flesh gimmick worked really well for him.
Yes, yeah, he did. It did. But he used to go to fetish nights and things of that nature, and run fetish nights,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
not at the wrestling shows. Don't get carried away. He was always an odd guy, but he was
Right.
always a pretty good guy. So I can't really get into the real specifics of what happened. Suffice to say, he was living in Florida and he was
Okay.
basically homeless.
Right. Oh,
And
that's too bad.
he happened
I don't wish that on anyone.
and he happened to have a job in the steel industry. And when Trump came to power, I'm not going to make this a big political thing,
yeah.
but when Trump came into office, one of the first things he did was he imposed trade tariffs on China. One of China's biggest exports is steel.
Okay.
So anything and it's huge in this country. A lot of the
Right.
steel that go up on construction
Oh,
sites
yeah.
are it's Chinese steel.
Right.
So the U.S. steel market got an artificial bump from all of that.
Right.
And Paul grew up poor, never had really any money, was just about homeless in Florida. And then all of a sudden, he was probably doing 70 hours a week at a very high rate of pay.
Right.
And for the first time in his life, he had something.
Right.
So when I believe, and I'm speaking a little out of turn, and I don't want to say too much because he has
No, I
friends
hear
that
you.
lived around here,
Right.
and I don't want to psychoanalyze him too
Right.
much, but I really think what happened was when he saw that Trump was going away, he equated that with the prosperity he had finally
Yeah.
starting to have, and I wouldn't even call it prosperity. He was finally starting to have a good life,
Yeah.
and it just drove him to do what he did.
Yeah.
It really, and of course he took it way too far, and he was sending people pictures from that night, and
Crazy.
and honestly, he asked me to be a character witness, and I couldn't see my way to do it. I just
Right.
couldn't, no,
Right.
because I would do that for my wife and maybe my kids.
Right.
know,
Yeah.
that's-
Well, I hope you do
you're-
it for them.
Well, yeah, but he's almost 40 years old.
Yeah.
You made a mistake. I'm not your dad.
Right. Right.
I couldn't afford to hire a lawyer to investigate. Well, can they look into my background? But I
Right.
assume they could. It's a
Oh, yeah.
character witness.
Of course.
I don't I'm not putting my family through this crap. I'm sorry. You made a decision. It was a bad decision.
Very
have
bad.
to live with it.
Yep.
You know, and I haven't talked to him, so if anybody plays him, this is probably the first time he's hearing that. So,
Right.
but it's not.
Well, I can tell you my interactions with Paul.
Yep.
You probably will remember this. He came it was at a Jeff show at St. Stan's. I got bad information from people that I could fly a cars. So I had my 11-year-old son outside or whatever, 13, flying, and all of a sudden I'm packing my stuff up, and all of a sudden I see him come running in, like there's somebody robbing somebody. They're flying cars. They're putting flyers on cars. I walked right over to him and said, "You're an asshole." And then I went up to Rip and said, "I didn't know. I'm sorry." The next day they were supposed to have like a cookout.
Yep.
And I got embarrassed and didn't go. And when Rip saw me the next time, he goes, "Why weren't you there? Just because we said you can't fly didn't mean we didn't want you."
You should. Listen. I will forever hold it against you. You never went to the cookout.
I could have went to one. I was only invited to one.
Those cookouts were, oh my God. So
Was Kevin there?
Kevin was there.
Oh, then
Kevin
that's
was
all
always
you need
there.
to know.
Kevin would announce the softball game or the wiffle ball game. We would set up like an elevated slip and slide.
Yep.
And I remember Rip got a running start at this thing and hits it. And Rip was probably about 340, 350 pounds at that time. So he's thinner than he is now. So he comes hitting this thing. And he used to have such a head of steam with everything he did. That's why he broke rings when he bumped. But here he comes. Wow! He hits this thing and he comes flying off. And the thing's about 40 feet long. And he doesn't even slow down at all. The end.
Right.
Just hits the end. Boom! Hits a bump. Crashes in the grass.
Probably why wrestling his back, because his back was messed up for a while, correct?
Neck.
Yeah. Oh, his neck. Yeah. Okay.
And then Coco Beware brought his son, who was in the bouncy hut, and we had to get out of the bouncy hut because we can get out of the bouncy hut. Yeah.
So Coco Beware was at the cookout?
Coco Beware was
And
at
his
the cookout. Yeah, my son hit a home run off of Greg Valentine.
Nice. I actually was talking to Maria about Greg Valentine because I'm going to the gathering in North Carolina with Damon Farah.
Okay.
We're going, it's July 22nd through the 25th. And all these guys, they're naming everyone that's going to be there. Coco's not going to be there, but his old tag team partner, Norvell Austin's going to be there.
Really?
Which excites me. Most people, you guys probably don't know these guys, but Dennis Condrey, Randy Rose, Norvell Austin, the original Midnight Express.
Yeah, that is actually kind of cool.
Really cool. And Damon's the best. You know Damon.
Yes.
So Damon says to me, "Yeah, I booked us a room." I'm like, "God, well, how much do you want for it?" He goes, "I don't want any money." He says, "I got us a suite." I'm like, "A suite?" So I'm going to try to get Damon some tail that weekend because seeing that he did that, I'm going to try to get all the women wrestlers up to our room to drink and stuff. But Maria, I promise I'm just hooking Damon up, not me. But he's a great guy, great fan too, you know?
Yeah.
He buys everyone shirts.
Huh.
You know, great guy. How about let's talk about the second annual Wing Challenge. We don't have a date for it yet on the Dropkick Kitchen, but I did announce that the defending champion, Jumpin' Isaiah Diaz, is not going to be there to defend the title. What that means, he's retiring at 13, but what that really means is he don't want to hang with his grandfather.
Oh, man.
I'm not cool like I used to be.
Man.
Yeah, you say he's a cool little kid.
Yes, he is.
I remember
Yes.
your wife saying, "He's so nice. I couldn't believe he gave me a hug." I'm like, "Well, he knows better. That's what you do." You know what I mean?
Yeah. The Wing Challenge, I mean, I was robbed.
You were robbed.
I was robbed.
Just going to bring that
I
up.
was
You
robbed.
were robbed. Brian Malonis was there.
Don't invite him. Don't invite him.
I don't know if he can do things. I asked him about the show, and he told me he couldn't do it, but he'd have to get permission from Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to say, well, if things change, because I want him to be signed to Ring of Honor forever.
Yeah.
You know?
Or move up. you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Brian Malonis. You ever wrestle Brian?
Yes. Oh, yes. Several times over the years.
He's one of my favorite wrestlers. Seriously.
He's a very hard worker. Don't take this the wrong way when I say this, but he knows how to be a larger wrestler. He does.
Right.
some people, they want to see larger wrestlers do backflips. And I think, no,
he wrestles the big size guy.
He works very hard.
Yeah, he does.
But he's not gonna move all over a ring for you,
right?
You know, and nor should he.
But he'll always give a great match.
Yes,
like you said, he knows how to work as a big man.
Yes, exactly. And it's not, it's not going to be, Finn Balor versus I don't know, take your pick.
Buddy Murphy.
Yeah, it's not going to be.
We're going
that.
to talk about all those guys in a few minutes.
Yeah, it's not going to be that. But
right.
He knows how to do his job. He does. He's very effective at it.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like there's almost like the next move up. There's like a gap in that market, I guess is the best.
Oh, you mean from like Ring of Honor to WWE?
They don't have like big, heavy guys like that anymore.
They don't. And the biggest guy they just got rid of.
Yeah, they get rid of.
Which shocked me.
It's Braun
Strowman.
Yeah.
I was blown away, honestly. I mean, the guy has been, for the past couple of years, on top for the most part.
Yeah.
Maybe not as the champion, but fighting the champion and being in a top spot.
Yeah. I don't know.
I was shocked.
It may be a case where they just what's left to do with a monster.
I think it was money.
Yeah, it might
That's because I think they just gave. I listened to Keeping It 100 with Conan, the podcast, and he said he thinks it was about money. But I did want to just bring the book out because a bunch of dudes got released.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about the first round of releases?
Sure.
That happened on April 15th. And one of my favorite wrestlers was released, and I was not happy about it, Samoa Joe. I met him a million times. One of the nicest guys I've ever met, Samoa Joe, Billy Kay, Peyton Royce, Mickey James, Tucker, Kalisto, and Bo Dallas. The only one that I was really mad about was Samoa Joe. I think Mickey James deserved a little better send-off than that, too. She did a lot for that company.
Yeah.
And she's a sweetheart, too.
Yes, she worked with all the girls.
Yeah.
Didn't she work with them in the NXT?
Yes, she went to NXT for a little bit, too.
Yes, just to work. And partially, wasn't she brought in as a trainer initially?
I wonder if they're going to bring her back to do that again, I mean,
yeah.
They should.
Yeah, they really could use it. I mean, I don't know who they have. I don't know if it's...
Sarah Amato, I think that's her name. Okay. She used to wrestle as not cheerleader Melissa. Do you remember what her name was? Sarah Del Rey. That's who it is. Sarah Del Rey.
Yeah, who Jeff used on a show up here years ago.
Actually. Oh, really?
Yes, he did. Up in Nashville, Manchester, actually.
Oh, okay. Because I don't think I ever went to one of his shows in Manchester. I only did the Nashville ones. I went to a few of yours, though.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
And I'll never forget, I have this awesome picture of Johnny Royal.
Yeah.
And with Sarah, she's probably like 7 or 8. And I got one with Vanity Vixen. And the look in Sarah's eyes, looking at Vanity like she's her hero. You can just see it in her eyes. It's amazing picture. Speaking of Vanity Vixen, she wrestles for APW now.
Yep.
They just had a wild match where it was Vanity Vixen teaming up with her arch rival, Widow, Mistress Belmont, whichever one. I think she's going by Widow.
Yep.
Taking on the new tag team of FAFO, Angel Sinclair and Savannah Lords.
Okay.
You know, Savannah Lords is Julian's.
Yes.
I thought the match was really good.
Good.
I was happy to see Susanna come back to wrestling.
I was too, because actually I remember having a discussion with her a few years ago about how she felt she was actually behind everybody.
Right.
And she didn't, I'm sorry if I'm revealing something that I shouldn't, but I think she'd be fine with it.
Yeah.
Probably
she would be.
3 years ago.
Awesome.
She's probably about 3 years ago. We had a discussion how she felt she was like behind everybody.
Right.
All the other women and other people in class, and I was like, well, you can either just stick with it, or if it's not for you, it's not for you. And evidently, she decided to just give it a break and go back to it. She's a nice woman.
Yeah, and I think her partner, they worked together.
Yep.
At the place, and I think she probably talked her into, hey, let's do this. You can be my tag team partner. I'm trying to get them on here to find out the real story. But Susanna thinks it's still too early. You know what I mean? I had her on the show before.
Well, isn't Brandon Locke helping running a wrestling school right in the Manchester area?
No, whatchamacallit's running it. Buddy.
It is Buddy.
Yeah, the Nightbreed.
But I thought
he might be doing some too. I don't know.
I think he might be doing some training there. I'm not sure.
I actually seen him at Susie's Diner in Hudson a couple weeks ago. I took Nicole out for breakfast.
Yep.
And saw him. He sat right behind us. But what was really funny was, Nicole's special needs.
Yep.
She's awesome. I love her. She has She has behavioral issues. But we went out, and I'm just talking to her like I always do.
Yeah.
The waitress comes over, leans in. I'm like, think she's going to give me a kiss. I'm like, what's going on? She says, someone paid for your meal, and we both want to tell you that you're awesome with her. And I felt like saying, what am I supposed to be, a jerk? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I seen Brandon after that. He has a beautiful family. That guy's amazing how he can go to get his body for those contests and then get back into have a wrestler's body.
I know. I couldn't.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's a rough haul. He's a very determined guy. He really is.
And that was really the only time I ever said, like, I had a conversation with him ever.
Yeah, he's so positive, and it makes me want to choke him sometimes. but he'd kill me if I tried to choke him.
Yeah, he's strong though, man.
Oh yeah, I know. I've wrestled him several times too.
Right. So. You know what surprised me on this release, though, was Bo Dallas. I know they hadn't been using him, but with his brother being the Fiend, I kind of thought that eventually they could have did something with him.
At least hang on to him, you know.
Yeah.
So you're not
well, they did hang on to him for a long time.
Yeah, they did. I guess eventually that wears off and you got to cut them loose. I mean, you know.
Yep.
You can't keep him on all the time because he's the other guy's brother.
What do you think about Daniel Bryan not signing the contract yet? He's freelancing still. I guess he's doing a lot in the creative as a writer, and he still wrestles, you know what I mean? But what do you think about Daniel Bryan? Because I think he's one of the best wrestlers in the world.
I always like Daniel Bryan. I met him a few times.
Did you?
Yeah, he was a nice guy. I met him on a Ring of Honor show years ago.
Right.
You know,
the one you worked?
Yeah, he was on that show.
In Wakefield?
Yes.
I was there.
Yeah, he was
flipping out when I saw you and Alex open the show because I didn't know you guys were there.
But he was very soft spoken.
Yeah,
I guess he still is for the most part.
Right.
But you know, hey, he wants to continue wrestling. At one point he wasn't wrestling because he had a concussion.
Yep.
He got cleared on that.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a hang up there where he doesn't.
I just wonder what he's going to do. Is he going to just stay with WWE? Because you know he would love to have matches against so many guys that aren't signed to WWE.
Yeah, but he's older now too.
That's true.
You have to weigh it against. I could really have all these matches, but should I have all these matches?
Right.
Yeah, and you really should. I mean, Triple H. Well, it was done now, but I mean, you know. What was he wrestling like 6 times a year at one point?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, 1 year I think he just did 2 years in a row. He only did one match each at WrestleMania.
I mean, you get older like that, and it's like I better save it up. Or the Undertaker, he would wrestle twice a year. I don't see him getting like that, but you know, I can see him, you know, not wanting to go on the road and do a bunch of house shows. And, you know, why don't they stay with creative and you know, will put me wherever you feel I belong on the card so I can keep wrestling and you know. It's probably something like that, you know. In which case, he'll probably stay there because
I hope so. I really do.
But then again, if he goes AEW, I mean, they don't do any house shows at all.
Not yet. I guess they're supposedly starting some up in July or maybe even June. I'm not positive.
Maybe he's waiting on that too to see just how busy that gets.
I'd love to see him wrestle in the W. I want to see him wrestle Adam Cole. I just think that match would be freaking unreal, man. I like Adam Cole a lot. I like he's doing a thing. Do you watch NXT, Matt?
A little.
Okay, so last week, Adam Cole challenged Karrion Kross, the champion.
Yep.
The size difference was unbelievable, but it was like a shoot saying stuff to each other. I mean, he called him little man. He told him how the best thing Karrion Kross has, and he points to his girl. And I swear to God, if I would have seen him in that promo when he said something to the girl, it would have been awesome visual to see him snatch him by the neck, you know, for talking about his girl. I hope to God that Adam Cole does it again and that happens. I just think it would be a great visual, you know?
Yeah.
What do you think about, like, guys retiring? Like, I'm sorry, not retire, staying around too long. For instance, Ric Flair. I can't look at him now, even as he wrestled at the end of his career in WWE. I thought he hung around too long. But if he would have quit 5 years before, in my mind, he still might be one of the greatest wrestler of all time. He's definitely still up there. I mean, the guy was unbelievable.
See, in his case, the matches were never bad, no matter how they got. if you'd been watching him for a while and you would watch him, you go, oh God, that's not Ric Flair that I remember. But they weren't like bad matches.
No, because again, like you said, how Brian can work as a big man. Ric Flair knew what his limits were and stuff. That match against Shawn Michaels, his last match, was unbelievable.
Yes. But say I remember Roddy Piper going in, and he definitely shouldn't have been. I remember they did this had him back in 2007, I think.
Wow.
I think it was they did some tag team with him and Ricky Steamboat
Against Jericho.
Against Jericho.
Yeah.
Right.
Didn't he beat 3 of them? It was them 2 and somebody else.
I might have been Snuka.
It might have been Snuka. I think
Might
you're
have
right.
been Snuka. But really, the only one of that age group that really had any business being in the ring was Ricky Steamboat.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And, that was, I remember watching Roddy Piper try and do a drop kick, and he had his hip replaced, and he couldn't do the drop kick.
Right.
What are you doing? But then other people can get to that age, and they're fine.
Right.
Like Rick Steamboat, he was so good in his part of the match that I believe the next night they took it over to Raw, and they actually just had a singles match with him and Jericho.
Yeah,
and it was
then
good.
They did some on house shows because I read it in Jericho's book.
Yeah. It was good.
Yeah.
It was just damn good.
Yeah.
He
was great. I have a picture of me and him, and he looks like he could be my dad. And in the picture, it's unbelievable.
But as far as people hanging around too much, I guess really, if they taper off and they do special events,
right?
That's fine.
Right.
But
how the Undertaker did it.
Yes, exactly. Really, it's not right to take up a spot on a card for a younger guy that. If you're old and you're on that schedule for 2 weeks, you're probably going to hurt yourself anyways, and you're going to be all banged up and not be able to wrestle on TV anymore and stuff like that anyways. And you've just basically taken somebody's spot for no reason.
Right.
And that's not,
Yep. No, I hear you on that. Saying we brought up Chris Jericho. What do you think about Jericho now? We all know over the years, he's one of the best wrestlers. To me, he's definitely made a point of being right up to near the top, honestly, of all time. The guy could take a pen and get it over. The guy's unbelievable. And he can still work.
Yeah. I like Jericho. Like earlier on in his career, I liked him, but I wasn't enamored with him.
Right.
But he always learned, and he always got better, and he always get better. And now I don't watch much of the AEW, but
I do. I watch it. I watch NXT first, though, no matter what.
I think all the flashing around and stuff, that doesn't work if you don't have a couple of anchors there. And he's definitely one. And I don't mean an anchor like, I got to drag this thing around.
Right.
I mean, you need a show anchor, and he's one of them. He really is. I really don't think that thing would work without a couple guys like him.
Right.
And
what do you think about Kenny Omega? Everybody says he's the best wrestler in the world, and he's a great wrestler, there's no doubt. I think a lot of silliness in there, though.
There's he misses the mental aspect that Chris Jericho has.
Yep.
And I almost wonder how much that frustrates Jericho to some degree.
Oh, it must.
Because, you have, was it the
Young Bucks?
There you go. The Young Bucks. Sorry.
I'm not a big fan of them. So.
I'm not.
I really ain't.
Not a huge fan either, and I'm not a huge Kenny Omega fan.
Right.
Kind of for the same reasons. It's just, that serious, when they need that serious edge, it doesn't seem to be there.
Right.
Yep. And
I agree.
There comes to a point. Jeff always told me there comes a point where you got to stop your effing around, and you break it. He used to call it breaking out the ginsus. It's got to get violent. You got to show that there's toughness there and stuff.
Right.
And I'm sorry, and I understand how tough it is on your body to do all those high spots. Nobody understands that better than I do.
No doubt.
I'm a walking pile of destroyed bones at this point. So I get it. So it's not that you're not tough. The problem is you don't project that.
Right.
Like as frilly as people used to think Shawn Michaels was, there would come to a point where he would have to prove he's tough.
And he did.
And there's what it is Jeff also explained to me is like guys don't want to pay to see teenagers wrestle.
Right.
And I know they're not teenagers by any stretch of the imagination, but they're they don't look
special.
They don't look tough.
Yeah, and they don't look, I'm sorry, but just because they got tassels and all that and multicolored, they don't look special. Like
They don't. I think Omega does.
yeah,
I think
he's
Omega
a little
does.
bit. He's bigger than them
Yeah.
and stuff.
And it's not even the size. Though.
Okay.
It's like they look like Hardy Boy knockoffs.
Right,
you
right.
know? And frankly, they never developed that. From what I've seen, they never developed the grit that that Matt and Jeff Hardy developed over the years. You know.
Yep.
I mean, you definitely believe those two were tough. I can't watch. The Young Buck especially. I can't watch and go.
Right.
Well, I believe that's a tough person. I don't.
They ruined one of the a great move, the super kick, by kicking 9-year-olds and everybody. You know.
Oh, don't get me started on
They
that.
throw 12. Like, every match nowadays has a goddamn super kick.
I know. I remember when I was up. I was up at the New England Training Academy.
New England Pro Wrestling
New England
Academy.
Pro Wrestling Academy, and like my favorite guy there was Charlie Cashew.
Right.
You know, he was good.
Yep.
You could tell.
He is good.
I could tell by the way he moved and the way he reacted while he moved
Right.
and the way he reacted to other people while they did things to him. I said, that guy knows it. That guy's
Well,
got
he
it.
was teaming with Chase for a while too before
Yep.
the pandemic. You know what I mean? Hit us.
Yeah, but then he used a super kick. I said, "You son of
Did he?
Get away from me.
That's funny. I
don't like you anymore."
Right. I went to Chaotic Friday night.
Yeah.
And it was great to see. What I want to talk about on Chaotic was, just got to read it right here because I wrote just a couple things down. What do you think about Chaotic changing hands from Brian Fury to Chase Del Monte?
So I can tell you call them kids. Sorry, you're kids to me. You're all
Right,
kids.
they are
to me.
kids.
Yeah,
They are.
you're all our kids to me. Sorry, get over it. The kids are in good hands up there. They
Absolutely.
really are. I mean, I don't.
Big Scott.
Yep. When I was up there, the Logans were up there as
Oh,
well.
nice.
Who I don't even think they're working that much anymore.
Yeah, Rich was telling me that they don't work that much anymore.
No, they don't.
It's too bad because they're awesome.
Yep. But yeah, they got a good crop. They got a good crop of students there,
Right.
and they got a good guy taking care of them. Which
absolutely.
He's
Yeah.
I couldn't. I mean, I don't know if they could do much better, to be honest
Right.
with you.
And the school has also changed hands, obviously, to Chase and Big Scott, I think, are the two owners, correct? Am I right?
I believe so.
I think
yeah.
it's just the two of them.
I don't talk to Big Scott much. I do talk to Chase.
Right.
every
Well, Big
once in a while.
Scott, they opened the show. They
Yeah.
took on the Mainstay Posse. It was him and his tag team partner, which I like the dynamic because they look nothing like each other. CJ Cruz and Max Smashmaster.
Cruz, I think I know.
He looks like a wild man. He got what wavy hair.
Okay.
I don't know how much he goes to the school anymore. I mean, he's been working for a while, you know.
Okay.
He's from Lowell.
Okay.
Shorter guy. Trying to think how you'd remember him. Do you remember when AG was starting the retrosexual thing?
Yeah.
And he had a signed kid?
Yeah.
Kid had a sign that was
Oh,
CJ.
okay. I see.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
He's a good kid, good worker. But I mean, I thought the match was incredible. MSP, Mainstay Posse, they're a hell of a tag. They're on the smaller side, but man, they're good. You know, and the dynamic with having Big Scott with these, you know, it just the visual
They must look
was
tiny
awesome.
next to him.
What's that? Oh, they did. Everybody looks tiny next to Scott.
Scott's like 6'5",
He's
6'6".
huge.
The last time I saw him, he was probably about 350. I think
Yeah.
he was a big dude.
Big dude.
Really big
Yeah.
guy. Very good. I wrestled him.
he
a few
got-
times.
I thought it was him as Mayor McCheese.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I got a message from him and he's like, hey, can you call me? And I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
So then he said, I'm not mad. And you know what I said to him? Well, that's good because you're huge. I said to him. Great guy. You know, I was wrong or maybe I wasn't. I don't know. Nobody knows who McCheese
Who
is.
cares? Who really cares?
He retired.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. He retired from doing nothing.
Yeah, exactly. How about, let's talk about the last two guys signed. Actually, there's three guys. The last three guys signed by the WWE. Anthony Green and Josh Briggs pretty much got signed at the same time. Anything about those guys?
I don't know Josh that well. I know Anthony
Right.
decently, you know. I worked with Anthony once.
You worked at that pro wrestling marathon
Oh,
show.
yeah.
Sorry, Spencer.
Yeah, well, that's
I like Spencer. A lot of people are mad at him, but I like him.
well, you know, I got over it. Hey,
Right.
I'm the sap who gave me my money back when he tried to pay me. So
Well, Kevin Sullivan probably still wants to.
yeah, I would assume. So.
Sorry again, Spencer, but I mean, you know, you ran the show. We got to talk about it.
You know, Anthony Green used to send me messages. How do I do this? How do I do that? I'm like,
Right.
Why are you bothering me?
Because he went to you because he knew you'd give him the right advice.
I try to, anyways.
Right.
You know,
He's a great kid.
He worked extremely hard. I mean, he wasn't taken very seriously when he first got into this in this area, but that was hard enough to overcome. It's like, you're not going to get taken seriously around here, then you're gonna try and move up. That's going to be tough.
Right.
But he did it.
Pretty awesome, man.
But he did it. He really did it.
He got signed to Evolve.
Yes.
And then WWE, I think, bought Evolve.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, boom, he was gone.
Yeah.
And how about the latest one? It goes by, I'm sorry, Anthony Green goes by August Gray now.
Yes.
I just want to make sure, in case you guys don't know who we're talking about. But what about Carmelo Hayes, formerly known as Mr. Christian Casanova, did you see the match?
No, I did not.
Before the match, Wade Barrett said, you guys might be more familiar with him. He used to wrestle as Christian Casanova. He said that, and then he now goes by Carmelo Hayes. I never seen them do that before. Like announce
no,
what
they
his
usually
name was.
they usually won't tell them their previous name. No,
I mean Anthony made it to TV quicker.
Yeah.
Okay, when he got down there, they must have saw him work and be like, he's TV ready because he was on TV immediately.
Yes,
it took Christian a little bit, but not to say that he wasn't ready. But when they finally gave him that shot, it was a title shot. That's pretty good to make your debut. They got to be high on him.
Yeah, I would assume so.
You know,
he's a hard person to not be high on.
Right.
I mean, he's extremely athletic. He's no dummy in the ring.
No, not at all. And he's put on, I don't know if you've seen him, but he's put on probably 15 to 20 pounds of muscle. I mean, his arms were, they're like this now. I mean,
because I remember when he first broke out around here, he was doing a Michael Jackson.
Yeah, and he was small and skinny like Michael Jackson.
Yeah, he was a tiny little guy. Yeah.
But he got that over.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. I've been a big fan of Christian and Anthony.
Well, anybody who can get over anything that patently ridiculous.
Yeah.
Thomas penmanship.
Thomas penmanship. That was unbelievable. I was like, what the heck?
Worst gimmick ever.
And he got it over.
Handsome Johnny. Ivar.
Right.
He was the Duke of Elegance.
Elegance, yeah. I was going to say Duke of Dorchester.
Not the Duke of Dorchester. No. I love Pete Doherty.
Right.
But the Duke of Elegance, Don Chesterfield.
Yes. Now, I never seen him wrestle as him. For some reason, did he try to talk with an accent?
Yes, he did.
Oh, I have to find some stuff, man. Oh, because I think John's a great wrestler.
Well, you're going to have Doc on pretty soon. Maybe he can bring it up. It was on his shows.
Oh, actually, I got a message from him. Yeah. I was trying to do the long feud thing with you and him, and he hit me up. It's just not the right time.
Okay.
But he definitely would like to do the show down the line.
Okay.
Very nice guy. I mean.
But he has all them old EWA tapes. He has stuff. Right. He was all the Don Chesterfield stuff, and
I'd love to see some of that.
Some of that is an amazing catalog.
I'm sure I could probably find 1 or 2 matches of Don Chesterfield's on YouTube. I'll have to look it up when I go home.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't think Jeremy's ever put the EWA stuff on.
Okay,
and that would be where most of it is.
Right. Oh, that's his real name, Jeremy.
Jeremy.
It's not Reginald.
No, it's not Reginald.
I swear to God, I thought it was his name.
It sounds like a real name. He looks like a Reginald.
He looks fantastic.
Yeah, he does. He looks very good. I'm glad.
I think I told you I was at a Beyond show on like the Thursday night shows, and I went to go hang my coat up, and as I walked, he was right there. And I never really talked to him. I mean, obviously, I do my show and stuff, so he knows who I am now. Yep. You know what I mean? Obviously, I know who he is. But we talked for about 10 minutes. I swear to God, I walked away like me and him had been friends for 100 years.
He's easy to get along
He's a really nice guy.
He's easy to get along with. He really is.
Right.
You know, it's why he still hangs around with me, because I'm not easy to get along with. He's the more patient of us. He's one of my best friends in wrestling.
Right.
One of my best friends, period.
Nice.
You know? He's a good guy. He really is.
He seems like a great guy. I want to just bring up a couple of guys that I feel could have been signed or still could be signed, but time is starting to catch up. Teddy Goods. No knock on you, Teddy, because he's awesome, man. I could see him in NXT right now.
You know, yeah, I mean, he's probably getting a little past the age where Tommaso gets signed.
Right.
You know, I don't know how that works anymore. I mean, I remember when I was doing jobs on the road, and then you'd send in like a resume and stuff, and then you'd get a form letter back saying you need a bare minimum of 5 years experience.
Right.
But then I remember when I went down to OVW for a week, they were telling me it's very hard to get people signed over the age of 30.
Right.
Know? So I was like, well, I don't know how that works now. I know they've signed some older people.
Right.
But I don't know how that goes anymore. I mean, Ted's good. Ted's a smart guy.
Yeah. And I mean, he wrestled with Biff on that Pro Wrestling Marathon show. They had a great tech. They were in the gauntlet.
He may suffer a little bit from what I used to think I suffered from. I was good enough at a lot of different things, but I didn't stand out at a lot of. I didn't stand out on a lot of things. And sometimes it's honestly, when you're trying to get signed, I think it's almost better if you have this one standout attribute.
Right.
Especially the way they do it now, where they take you in NXT and they train it, and they train, or even in the developmental system.
They teach you everything.
They're just like, okay, we're going to beat all these bad things out that we don't like, and we're going to try and concentrate on this one good thing that you can do. And I think sometimes if you don't have that standout thing, they don't really get. Yeah, they don't have that much interest.
When you went down to OVW, was Cornette down there?
Yes, he was.
So you like Jim Cornette? Because I do. I think he's wacky, and I don't like every single thing he says, but he's so entertaining.
I love Jim Cornette. His critiques are they can be very funny.
Very funny.
I got in a ring with this guy, and you could tell who they were taking seriously. They'd match him up with somebody they thought would be good, and then they could tell who he weren't taking seriously, i.e., me. So they got me in this ring with this fat hillbilly, just this big fat hillbilly, and he was miserable, and he couldn't do anything.
Wow!
And he just all the guy tried to do is, because he was a mark for himself, he would try and just beat me up the entire time.
Right.
And then I was like, stop it. I'm ready to, and I should have killed him, frankly.
Right. You didn't give him a receipt?
No, I didn't, because I was trying to not, in front of people. Then I got him with a sunset flip or something, and Jim Cornette comes over the house mic after this, and it was the most sarcastic thing I ever heard. I said, "Boy, that Scott Dapre must be the toughest bastard I ever met. Take a beat like that and still win."
Was Kenny Bolin down there?
Yes. We went to eat with Kenny Bolin.
What a unique guy. I've actually had conversations on direct messages with him. He's a wacko.
Oh, he's great. He kept that OVW alive.
I bet.
He did.
I bet.
He was the guy who got the sponsorship deals. I don't know if people are aware of that. That guy, you went into his house, right? I'm telling you, he had a TV in every room, including the bathroom. Wow. Like it was ridiculous. Yeah. And they were all comped.
That's cool.
He just worked the sponsorship angles so much. It was we'd go out to eat with him. We never paid to eat, and neither did he. He just had all coupons.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up. A steakhouse or something with all these coupons.
Oh, it was incredible. I've never seen anything like it. He was the best worker down there.
That's awesome.
I love Kenny Bolin.
Do you remember when you heard about Jerry Lawler? They just did a 50-year anniversary. He ran. That was like Kenny's show.
Yeah,
because he's still running. I think he's calling it USA Championship Wrestling or something. But I wanted to go. It just didn't work out for me because Jerry Lawler is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But Kenny Bolin, man, I like that guy. I've seen like shoot interviews with guys that he's managed, and they have stories like that, like the king of the coupons.
Oh, great! Right. I remember watching him doing an interview one night.
What, telling people where he's going?
Yeah, or something like that. Or one of the wrestlers right on live TV. Yeah, I want to go down to the system. I got a coupon for that. What the hell? You got a coupon for everything,
right? So Danny Davis was there too.
Yes.
How was Danny Davis?
I love Danny Davis. Danny Davis was awesome.
Right. Great work.
Yeah. He actually took me aside and basically told me, he said, "Listen, we threw you in there with a bunch of shit. You didn't do too bad. That was actually kind of impressive,
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
Who else was down there that I might know?
Oh, God.
Remember, I do know a lot of
before they ever got signed, Antonio Thomas was down there.
Oh, wow.
So was his partner, Romeo Roselli.
Yep.
Who else was down there? Oh, my God. Guys running the class was Muhammad Assad. Was that his name?
Muhammad Assad, when he was in the WWE? Yeah, Mark something's his real name.
Yeah, he was an Italian guy.
Oh, wow.
I didn't like him.
No?
No. Well, these things were cattle calls. They were taking in, whoever's giving them $2,000, they take in. They didn't care. So I get this. They were doing punches, and I got this guy. They had me square up with this cop from Cincinnati, right? And he doesn't know what he's doing. So I'm trying to show him, and this guy Mark's over here. Oh no, you gotta hit him like a boxer. You gotta hit him like a boxer. And this guy's pelting me. And I don't want to hurt him. He's a nice guy.
Right.
No, you gotta hit him like a boxer, like a boxer, like a boxer. With a big, really heavy Italian accent. which I finally looked at him and said, why would I hit him like a boxer? I'm
was gonna
a wrestler.
Yeah, I never seen
The guy like this.
they'll do this,
Yeah.
but you don't see them throwing punches like that.
He
Like a
threw up his
boxer.
hand and walked away from me. I was like, I'm sorry if that made too much.
That's
I'm sorry if
awesome.
that made too much sense for you.
Right. That's hilarious. Any other place that you went and trained besides New England and OVW?
I mean, just not really. You go all over the place
Yeah.
for Christ's sakes.
Right.
No, I mean, most of my training was locally. I went
Right.
down there for a week. I've done some camps here and there
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Terry Taylor hated me when I went to his camp.
I still can't believe a lot of people talk trash about that guy, and he still has a job. I mean, he's working for WWE now down at NXT.
I don't talk trash about him.
Right.
The only thing is my experience with him is I went down to a seminar that Bob held down in
Bob Evans, guys.
Yep. Bob held down in Rhode Island, and it was like all these guys were lined up trying. He was booking for TNA at that point.
Oh wow!
So I'm like, all these other guys were like really interested in getting signed, and
Right.
I was not. I
Yep.
had no interest. So Bob asked me. He had this kid he'd been training for about 2 weeks. And he's like, he's wicked nervous. He's in front of a big pro wrestler for the first time in his
Right.
life. Can you do something with him? I said, yeah, sure.
Nice.
So you got to take liberties, not beat him up, take liberties,
right.
but you got just to get somebody through a match like
Yep.
that, and like Terry Taylor's like, why are you doing that with him? I said, because he doesn't know what to do.
Right. Trying
You
to
know?
teach him the
Yeah.
right way.
I was like, this kid's literally been in the ring 4 times, for
Right.
God's sake.
Right.
I'm just trying to get him through it.
Yep.
So you shouldn't do that. I'm like, well, I am. I don't know what to
Right.
tell you. What do you want me to do? Beat the crap out of him? No.
Right. And Bob Evans has had a hand in training a lot of people, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people. I definitely want to get him on the show one time. I have talked to him about it. He's still doing, is he still doing the tag team with Tim Hughes? Tough guy?
I don't know, because I have them both as friends on social media, and I don't see that they
Right.
post anything together anymore. So
Oh, okay.
I don't know if Tim's even working at this point.
I loved it when he was working for Ring of Honor as the coach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, who was the guy for Rocky? What was it?
Mickey.
Mickey, yeah, like Mickey
I believe
had the hat on and everything.
Pretty sure Cornette gave him that gimmick.
Dude, he did a great
Yeah,
job
it was-
with that
yeah,
gimmick.
yeah.
He really did.
Mhm.
And it was awesome when I seen him get signed working with Ring of Honor, because I had met him when I was catering, and I saw him in the stands one day, and I'm like, "Can I get a picture with you?" And he was so cool. Then the next time I posted something like Holly Race was wicked tough for real, and he gave me the kind of a wise ass remark.
Yeah.
For real. Ha, ha. I was like, "What the fuck did I do, Bob?" But he, like I said, he's had a long career and trained a lot of guys.
He has.
He worked for you too, for Front Row?
A little bit.
Little
Yeah,
bit?
Yeah. He worked for Jeff quite a bit.
I saw him do the centerfold gimmick. That was the first time I ever saw him. I'm sorry, but that gimmick was awesome. He's got a disposable camera taking pictures of himself. That was awesome.
God, I hope we never develop those pictures.
Oh, I mean, I can remember yelling things at him and stuff.
Yeah.
But he's a good wrestler too.
He is. He is. He used to piss Jeff off something fierce.
Did he really?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we talked a little about AEW, like the Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and stuff. What about Cody Rhodes?
So anytime I read anything about him, it's usually some smart fan,
Right.
Oh,
I hate fans like that.
Oh, shut up and just watch.
I love
and
you, Dan,
enjoy.
but Dan thinks he knows more than Vince McMahon.
Jesus Christ.
Just teasing you,
I
Dan.
remember he came out of the Independents, and it was somewhere in Connecticut.
Right.
And he was working with Kurt Angle, and he missed a moonsault off the top of a cage on an independent show.
Wow.
He's recreated his hand up. You go up there and
Exactly.
do that. I didn't have to do that.
Was that one Connecticut? You said Connecticut, right?
Yeah, he worked.
AEW.
Yeah, he worked with Kurt Angle.
Yeah, and Kevin Quinn, I think, was the ref.
Yeah,
At least the 2 of the 3 matches, I
Yeah.
think.
it was just like, leave the guy alone. He's
Right.
really, really talented. He really,
Definitely.
really knows what he's doing.
Yep.
And again, another one of those AEW anchors. That
Right.
thing doesn't work without somebody like that. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
You know?
Well, and we talked about Jericho.
Mhm.
What about the young kid, MJF? He's only like 23, 24
I
years
love
old.
him.
He's
I
unbelievable.
love him.
Old school heel.
I love him. He's one of the, I mean, you're going to watch him and go, That's an older guy like me's dream. Somebody like me looks at him and go, I could work with him.
Right.
No problem. I could work. I'm sure Sonny probably feels the same way.
Oh, I wouldn't.
You look at some of these guys and go, I could work with him.
Yeah.
You know.
And
I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean that's because there's going to be a slow, boring match, although it might be because I'm there. But but you know. But no, he knows what he's doing. And
he stays in character with the fans all the time.
Yes, he does.
Me and Dan I only went to one Limitless show. We got there a little early, and a car pulls in, and all the wrestlers get out.
Yep.
And MJF's one of them. He doesn't see us. So he's laughing with his friend. He goes and sits in the car for a minute and looks. He sees us, and he goes just like this. He goes from this.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
I mean, like that, he went into character.
Yeah.
Disdain for us, you know?
And I think that's what a lot of it misses now. You get guys like that, as much as that guy, The Miz, used to get crapped on by fans all the time.
I'm a fan of The Miz.
Because he wasn't, and he's not the greatest athlete in the world. He never was.
Right.
But he learned how to put a decent enough match together. And he relied on his personality and his interview skills.
Yep.
And getting to get your personality to come through during the match, that's a big thing, and it's almost like a lost art. It really is.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. You have too much car crash wrestling at this point, and you need that to some degree. But I mean, it seems to be just tons and tons of that, and very few people like him.
Yeah. What do you watch? You follow Ring of Honor at all? Like other than like Brian Malone?
Very little.
Because they got a guy named Jonathan Gresham, the Octopus. He's very short, but to me, he's easily one of the best wrestlers in the world. If you're going to say Kenny Omega's the best, Jonathan Gresham should be right there next to him. That guy's unbelievable. Size is what hurts him the most.
Yeah.
You know?
No, which is not as big of an impediment as it used to be, but it's still, it's not. Yeah.
Right.
It still helps. You know? I mean, guys like Finn Balor should have made it fucking 15 years ago.
Oh, easily. Now, were you on any shows for Sheldon with Finn Balor?
No, believe it or not. That was
what about Doug Williams?
Well, yeah, I wrestled Doug Williams several times.
Okay, yeah. That's right. You told me that before.
Yeah, a bunch of times.
Doug Williams was awesome. I seen him at the Ring of Honor shows too that I did. He was really good.
I still talk to him online.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do. He's a nice guy. He really is.
He seemed like a really great guy.
He seemed to have gone through some shit, I guess is the best way
I
to put
remember
it
one night he came in and they all had food. I'm like, dude, I got food. He goes, nobody told me. So I ended up going to RF and Gabe and saying, you got to tell these guys, man. They're spending money when they don't have to.
Yeah, exactly. It's right here, guys.
Exactly. But Mav, I want to thank you for coming on again.
No problem.
We're going to do this again.
Okay.
I got another show this coming Wednesday, guys. Devin Baker will be here in studio, one of the Baker boys. So again, Mav, always a pleasure, man. Always, man. You have an open invitation to come on the show whenever you want.
All right.
All right? And start using it more.
I'll find somebody you don't like and come on and make fun of them.
There you go. That'll be funny. All right, guys, we're out. Peace.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.